Welcome back to Andersen Acres. We're out here with Bonnie today. And today we're out here with Bonnie because he's the only rabbit I can demonstrate today's discussion with. And that's because today we are discussing our favorite part of rabbit color genetics, the C series. And when I say favorite part, I actually mean my most detested part. Because I find the C series really, really annoying, okay? Because it is incomplete. It's incomplete dominance mostly. Sometimes the genes switch around. Sometimes you think this one will be dominant and it goes, nah, don't want to be. So the top of the series is dominant. The bottom of the series is recessive. Everything in the middle can be a little bonkers. So the C series itself is not well understood. Like I said, it's got incomplete dominance. It's got one of the strangest recessives, but it is what it is. And it is still an interesting gene to work with. And without that gene, we wouldn't have Bonnie here looking so fancy. He is a chinchilla. So let's start talking about the C series. There are actually 5 genes in the C series. There are still only 2 spots for that gene in your rabbit's genetic code. One from mama, one from papa. But there can be 5 different genes that show up in that genetic code. And the way they come together determines what kind of expression your rabbit will have when it comes to what he looks like. So, let's start. There are 5, like I said. First, you have a big C. We call it the C series because we use the letter C to indicate this is the series we're talking about. So a big C by itself is dominant. Then we have a big C followed by 3 little letters, CHD. That's the next in the dominance line most of the time. The third one is a big C followed by CHL, little CHL. That one is kind of in the middle. Then you have a little c followed with an H. Then you have just the little c. Okay, so let's talk about what these are. So for the purposes of this video, to understand this better, we are going to say that every single rabbit, including these lovely ladies in here who are in there, there's a black rabbit in there, you probably can't see her, but she's in there, she's black, and we are going to assume that every rabbit on the planet has an undercolor of yellow. Whether you are a black rabbit, or a brown rabbit, or a red-eyed white rabbit, or a blue-eyed white rabbit, your hair is colored with yellow. We're not going to ask what that chicken's doing. Tequila's going to go check. Are those chickens okay? Everyone's under control? Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay, the dogs are handling it. Anyway, so assume that every hair underneath it's black or it's brown or whatever has an undercoat of yellow. The C series starts removing color. Okay? It starts removing yellow in varying degrees. And then it starts working on all color. So first it removes yellow. Then as you go further down the C series, it just starts removing everything. Okay? So, the big C. If you are a big C, you are dominant. It doesn't matter what your second gene is. You are a big C. Big C is full color. All the yellow is still in there. So, full color is like these guys. Okay? He's full color, big C. He's big C dominant. Everyone except Bonnie is big C dominant. And I actually know that they don't carry anything else because of their genetic history, because of the breeding tests I've done. They don't carry anything else. So these guys do not carry a C recessive at all. Neither do these guys, and neither do my lops. Okay? So every rabbit we have is big C dominant and doesn't carry a recessive anything. They're 2 big C's. Except Bonnie. So these guys are the demonstration of the original big C dominant coloring. Okay, so moving down the line, we end up with what Bonnie is. Okay, we have that big C, CHD. Okay, that stands for dark chin or chinchilla. This is where you take a rabbit. So in this case, he is actually a black rabbit. And you start removing the yellow. Okay, so he is actually a tan. Genetically wise, he's a tan. And if you pull off the yellow, that where there would be yellow, like the tan color, turns white. So it's removing all of that yellow. This is pulling out all the yellow. So he has no yellow left in him. There's no yellow on this guy. He is a chinchilla. Okay? Pulled out all the yellow. You can also see this in magpies, the magpie harlequin. So there's two types of harlequins. There's the Japanese and there's the magpie. The Japanese has all its yellow. The magpie has all its yellow removed. So that is the dark chinchilla gene working on that harlequin. You also have silver martins. So if you took, she's not going to come out, but if you took Trunk, our black otter, and applied a dark chinchilla gene to her, she would turn into a silver martin because it would pull all the yellow out. Okay? It wouldn't pull out any other colors, just the yellow. That one is not dominant to the big C, but it's mostly dominant to everything else in the series. Gene number 3 is the big C and then CHL. This is a light chinchilla. Okay, a light chinchilla. Basically what a light chin does is it removes some yellow, but not all of it. So instead of getting as gray as this guy gets, okay, you are leaving in some of that yellow, and this is how you get a seal. Okay, that's where seals come from. They're very beautiful rabbits, and they are the result of that light chinchilla gene. It is recessive to both the big C and the dark chinchilla, but it is dominant to the next two, most of the time. So, the Californian gene is next, or the Himalayan gene, depending on what you're familiar with. It is represented by a big C, little c, followed by a little h. Okay, this is the Himalayan or the Himi gene. It's very present in Californians and Himalayans. It removes all the color. This is where we start pulling all the color out, with the exception of the extremities. Okay, so you still get color in the nose, and you get color on the ears, and you get color on the toes, but you're removing color from the body. You're even pulling the color out of the eyes. So the reason a Himalayan or a Californian, why their eyes are red, is because you've pulled all the color out. When you pull all that color out, what happens is you can actually see the blood behind the eyes. They don't have red eyes. You're just seeing right through everything because all the color's been stripped out. Okay? They don't have any color at all left. So what you're seeing is the blood behind the eye. It's actually really cool. Really cool. So, after that one, you now have little c. Little c impacts you really not very much at all unless you cross it with a chinchilla, Himalayan. Unless you have two little c's. If you have two little c's, it strips all color from everything. And you become a red-eyed white. Red-eyed whites can hide almost anything. Okay, so your red-eyed white could be a harlequin. You don't know because you are stripping out all the color. You don't know. It could be a black otter. You don't know. The only thing it can't be, because it is recessive to all the other C genes, every other gene in the C series, it is definitely not a chinchilla or a Californian. It's not a seal. because it is recessive to all of that. Okay, it is recessive to every bit of that. Because it's recessive to that, to all of that, you can't have a rabbit that is both chinchilla and a red-eyed white. It's not possible. Okay? Because of the way dominance and recessive genes work. So, because of that, that's the only active C series gene, but any other gene in any other series could be present. Without breeding that red-eyed white to other rabbits, you have no idea what it is. So what happens if you start crossing some of these genes? Well, if you cross a Californian or a Himalayan with a red-eyed white, okay, you get what is called an abbreviated Californian or an abbreviated Himi. This means you still have the color at the nose, the ears, and the feet, but it's really abbreviated. It's kind of shortened. You have less color than you might otherwise have. Okay? That's how you can tell when you're in the show ring who's been using red-eyed whites to shore up their Californian project. Because it shows up. So you can tell. If you cross two light chinchillas, so the CCHL, so if you cross two light chinchillas, you're going to get a seal. This is the best way to get a really quality seal, is to cross two light chinchillas, okay? Because that is what the seal gene is. It's a light chinchilla. If you do a light chinchilla with either a Himi or a red-eyed white, you get sables, okay? Sables are awesome. We love sables. If you cross a seal and a sable, you end up with about 50% seal and about 50% sables, just because of the way the genes work out. And I'm dropping everything. That's fun. Sorry, I'm dropping literally everything. Dog bumped into me. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Anyway, so if you cross a sable to a sable, now sables are some of the most sought after. They're gorgeous rabbits. If you cross a sable to a sable, you only get 50% sable, 25% seal, and 25% red-eyed white. Okay, just because of the way those genes kind of turn out. So if you are looking to get into breeding really good sables, get yourself a really nice seal female and a really nice red-eyed white male, because that will give you 100% sables every time. So it's kind of tricky working with the C series, because what you think will give you something may not. Like sable to sable doesn't give you all sables. So the C series can be a little tricky when it comes to breeding. And he is our only one that has anything other than a dominant C in his C series. That's it, just Bonnie. Everybody else, he's a caster. Nobody else has anything. Okay? Nobody else has anything. He's a beautiful chinchilla. Nobody else has anything to do with the C series. Everything else, hi Tequila, thank you. Everything else is completely, there's guys in there, but you can't really see them, can you? I can see them, but the camera can't pick them up. It's too dark in there. But the C series is annoying. The reason I hate it is it's got incomplete dominance. Every once in a while, those three middle genes will decide they're going to flip around on you. And what you thought was dominant isn't. So the top and the bottom always stay where they are. The three middle genes, especially the two chinchilla genes, they can kind of swap a little bit. And you can end up with one being dominant when you thought it was going to be recessive to the other. It's annoying as heck. But, Tequila, you're not helping me. You're not helping. She's like, too bad, Mama. I'm barking. But I am going to stop filming now because that's a bit of a long video. And I am going to take the opportunity to clean up these guys' pen. Grab my rake and rake it up before everything freezes solid again, because remarkably it's not that cold today. So that's what I am going to do now. I am going to rake up these two pens. And then I'm going back inside because I got bread in the oven. Anyway, that is about it for us here today at Andersen Acres. I hope that made sense. It made sense in my head. I don't know if it made sense when it came out of my mouth. But that was a C series. We'll see you tomorrow.